Okay, third time's a charm. Third time trying to record this. First time round I was muted. The second time round I was recording for about half an hour and then realized that my hard drive ran out of space. So hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Zach. Today we're going to hopefully be able to break some news to you and analyze the most recent and probably biggest deal of all time within esports that leans into cryptocurrency. Very excited to go over this. I've already looked at everything I was going to look at already twice now, so I have a pretty good idea of what's going on. Having said that, a pro esports team is getting $210 million to change its name. Now, this is huge, right? And I'm just going to explain why it's huge before we go into what's going on. Essentially, what we're seeing is a mass adoption potential for crypto within the Gen Z to probably, I would say, Gen X, maybe even, audience. Let's go through it. The deal between TSM, which fields competitive video game teams, I'm literally checking to see if I'm muted, and the Hong Kong-based FTX exchange rivals the kind of deals top sports franchises land to name arenas and stadiums. Now we're going to start off with the announcement video from TSM. It's time for a new era of TSM. Welcome to the family, FTX official. FTX, I'll just say now, is one of the leading, I think, exchanges in Hong Kong. This is massive for all of crypto, though, because it's going to bring a whole new audience that is going to adopt this probably for a long time.
Hey, yo, Benji, did you hear?
Hear what?
Yo, we're legit changing our name, bro.
We're changing our name?
Shh, keep it down, all right? It's on the low.
Well, how do you know this?
Well, it's funny that you should ask. You see, I was in the kitchen grabbing some burgers with Tsm Ftx, because, you know, that's like my burger bro. You know, so we were having this conversation about leaning in products, you know, because our ELO is like way high.
Cypher, keep it simple.
Oh, right. Okay. So Steve said that he and Lena were in a serious meeting when Abby burst in and she's like, oh my God. And Lena was like, oh my God, what? Abby was like, this is big. And Lena goes, like Wardell getting a 5K big? And Abby says, nah, like Lost getting his first penta big. Cause you know on Legends, Power of Evil was like.
So what they're talking about here is gaming, because TSM is an esports organization, which is a competitive gaming esports organization where they field the best players in every competitive game to compete in front of millions of people, basically. And essentially the whole point in here is that the millions of gamers between probably the age of about 12 to 35, 40, maybe 45, yeah, around there, they take this seriously. They take this super seriously. So even if gaming isn't something you care about, this is still huge, because this is essentially bringing a whole new generation into crypto that may not have got interest in it otherwise.
When you gonna get your penta, bro?
And you know, Lost, he's all suave and cool, like, yo.
Because these people, like this guy, for example, these are literally superstars. These are like the rock stars to, honestly, people my age, you know?
Soon, mother.
A bit like, I guess, Tony Hawk was a rock star to whatever generation he was a rock star to.
Oh, right. Okay, I got you. Backtrack. Okay, so Abby, who was also in a meeting with Andy.
Andy or Rager Andy?
No, he can't say it.
Like Andy, okay? And then the story goes that he
So this is the CEO and founder of TSM.
was hanging with this guy named
This
Sam
guy.
Gaming. Andy's like, haha, I'm awesome in League. And by the way, I have the best esports org. And the guy was like, haha, you are good at League. But you know what? He rips off his mustache, revealing his face, and says, I'm a super successful businessman. And Andy's like, whoa.
You sure that's what happened? 'Cause that doesn't sound like Andy.
Sorry. I mean, Andy was like, oh, that's cool. So then Sam's like, I also have a podcast, and shows Andy his phone, but Andy's like, I'm not impressed. So the guy says, I got a private jet. And the next thing you know, they're on his jet, listen to his podcast, and Andy says,
I also want to put out that he used to be a former League of Legends pro player. So he used to play one of the biggest games of the world at a pro level, and then he founded this team.
Still not impressed. And the guy says, I run a cryptocurrency exchange. And Andy says, like Bitcoin? And Sam says, yeah, like Ethereum and Litecoin and Dogecoin. And then Andy's like, Dogecoin? I love Dogecoin, Doge to the moon.
And also, prior to this announcement, I think, maybe about last year, I think that it was put out that TSM has a valuation of around 400 million already.
Wait, did he really
Let me say that again, 400 million.
say that?
I mean, that's not really what happened, but I have some Doge myself personally. I'm thinking about retiring in the Bahamas at some point because I love tropical islands.
The story.
Oh, right. Okay. So Max and Brandon spoke to Andrew in content that said that they heard Andy say, "That's cool. Crypto sounds like the future." So then Sam says, "Esports sounds like the future. Hey, maybe we should create the future together, like a baby." And Andy pauses with a kind of hold up, but I'm listening pose and says, "What are you thinking?" But then Sam turns the tables and says, "What are you thinking?" And immediately, Andy calls Walter in operations, who calls Parker in esports, who talks to Ned in sales, who talks to Lena in products, and within seconds, Andy whips out an 89-page presentation showing why TSM's the best and most badass org in esports. And then Sam says, "Damn, that's true. You know what? I have the best and most badass crypto exchange." And Andy's like, "So?" And Sam's like, "So?"
So?
We're changing our name.
Okay, so for one, I can tell that okay, so let's rewind. FTX is paying TSM $210 million over the next 10 years. It's $21 million per year. FTX is a crypto exchange based in Hong Kong, massively popular, I believe, over there, but not very popular in NA. So, what's the plan? Well, TSM is massively popular in NA, not as popular as in Asia, although to be fair, TSM is probably very popular in Asia too. In fact, it is very popular in Asia. But what does it make sense? Well, FTX and TSM working together to essentially make both of their brands global, right? The other thing to keep in mind is that essentially TSM fields teams to play in the biggest tournaments in the world. So essentially FTX is going to be seen by hundreds of millions of gamers every year because of this. And gamers matter because gamers is a whole culture now, a whole community, one of the biggest communities in the world basically at this point. And they're going to now be learning about FTX through their TSM fandom. It's almost like, I don't even know how to put, this is so emerging, I don't even know how to explain what else it is. But you'll see here, so there's music in this one, I'm not going to be showing this part, but essentially this is TSM Andy, TSM Reginald was his old name. Essentially though, even here, he's talking about how FTX works, right? He's talking about what it is, there's myth right there. But he talks about what it is, etc. And this is why it's so huge. It's because essentially TSM is one of the biggest esports teams in the world. And esports itself is only really in the beginning, right? So crazy stuff to see. And of course, here is the NYT article. Now, this is the guy who actually is the CEO of SBF. Is the CEO of FTX. His name is Sam, I believe it is. Stephen Curry even found this and it was like, because he's involved in esports as well. This is absolutely huge though, right? And I'm not surprised because as soon as I saw him, I'm like, okay, well, he's probably in his late 20s, early 30s, whatever. Andy is in the same boat. And as they said, basically building the future together. Now, looking at the NYT article, this isn't, I don't think, written for crypto heads, but even so, let's jump into it. The double between TSM, which fields competitive game teams, we've already looked at this. The conversation started with a direct message. We've actually already looked at this through the video already, so I'm going to go past that. On Friday, a competitive video game based in Los Angeles organization announced that it was changing its name to TSM Ftx and getting paid $210 million over 10 years. In the process, Ftx and upcoming Hong Kong-based crypto exchange will foot the bill. The annual $21 million payment is larger than many deals corporations have struck with traditional sports teams in recent decades that had their names attached to stadiums and arenas. It is similar to recent transactions like Citibank's deal with the Mets, MetLife's contract with the Giants and Jets, and the British bank Barclays agreement with the Nets. Of course, the big difference here is the TSM is changing its actual name, the equivalent of the New England Patriots, who play in Gillette Stadium, rebranding as the New England Patriots Gillettes. The agreement between the two companies comes as both crypto and gaming have taken a new relevance during the pandemic, with people stuck at home searching for online entertainment and ways to invest and make money, of course. Interest in video games has increased significantly over the past year. Honestly, I was invested in esports back in like 2010, 2011. I mean, I was like 12 back then. So when I say invested, I mean like I was interested and I was getting involved. I wasn't making money at 12 though. But yeah, it's absolutely huge. It's been getting bigger and bigger over the past 10 years, basically. The value of crypto, like Bitcoin, has also skyrocketed, obviously. One Bitcoin was worth more than 36K on Thursday, etc. Now, what's really important is more than 57 million people in North America watched an esports event in 2020. Now, that's one esports event. That's one. TSM runs in multiple esports. They have Fortnite, they have Apex Legends, they have Valorant, they have League of Legends. And I think now they're going to start running in other games and in other countries, probably PUBG Mobile I can see happening. That'll be huge in Asia. I imagine they might do a League of Legends Wild Rift team. Regardless, basically what I'm getting at here, and this is why it's helpful to actually have some background in esports, is that I can see how huge this actually is. Basically what this means is that market adoption for, I would say, 12... no, even less than that, maybe 10 to 40-year-olds is going to be huge on this. Young people in their teens are going to learn what FTX is when they just wouldn't have before. And people in their 20s, 30s as well are going to be doing the same thing, right? So absolutely huge. Honestly, worth the money, in my opinion. It's a huge amount, but honestly, the amount that crypto is going to be doing, we all know this, right? Then we also have crypto exchange FTX launches NFT marketplace. So, of course, FTX is the company we're talking about that has partnered up with TSM. And we have here, NFTs are unique digital tokens. We know that they are based on blockchain. One of the NFTs on the new FTX marketplace is SBF Lunch, which is redeemable for an in-person lunch or 30-minute Zoom call with FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried. The highest bid for the NFT at the time of writing is 100K. The bidding for the NFT closed on June 17. Now, after I read through this, actually, I'll read this thing and then I'll explain what my thought is on this. Other NFTs available on the marketplace, including FTX and FTX US branded caps, hoodies, t-shirts, and socks. And no other third parties have also listed NFTs. These tokens appear to be based on Solana and Ethereum. Of course, VeVe itself is being based on Ethereum very soon with Immutable X. Block explorers for both platforms are available to view on the platform. Users of the marketplace will be able to buy, sell, and hold NFTs. They will also soon be able to withdraw the tokens to their personal wallets, according to a statement on FTX's website. FTX will charge a 5% fee to both buyers and sellers. FTX is the latest crypto exchange to enter the NFT, similar to what we've seen with Binance. We've seen it, same thing with ZeroX in India, and we've seen it with Corbett in South Korea. NFT made global headlines, of course. We've seen this with Beeple. Now, then they say in recent weeks, however, the NFT activity has declined. Now, here's the thing. Honestly, from what I see right now, this is actually the most reasonable amount and the most reasonable NFT I can see. This itself actually has a lot of value because it's essentially, it's a ticket, right? It's a ticket towards an in-person lunch or a 30-minute call with someone who is incredibly successful and has basically a very smart brain to talk with, right? Now, this stuff, on the other hand, I'm not so sure about, because FTX is going to have to really have an important brand that has like social and cultural relevance. Now, being on the TSM name is cool, but I think they're going to need to become more than the TSM name, because the TSM name, really, that's more than anything going to bring exposure. Unless FTX does some cool stuff with TSM apart from naming the company like that, which could happen, to be fair. We all know that NFTs are only based on what the buyer's willing to buy for, right? So I'm not sure how selling t-shirts and all that sort of stuff, especially as an NFT, I just don't know how that's going to go. Because like the way I think of t-shirts and hoodies in this sort of environment is the only way it becomes a thing is in a metaverse. Which, to be fair, if it's going to be, you know, if, for example, we can use this stuff in VeVe, I don't know if that's going to be possible, though. So anyway, that's that. And I even looked at it. What can I do with the FTX NFTs? You can bid and purchase them. You can attempt to auction them off. No, there might not be anyone who wants to buy it from you. Now, to be fair, they actually made it very clear there, right? There might not be anyone who wants to buy it from you. This all comes down to social currency. If FTX was Supreme, it's different, because Supreme will just get bought by anyone who wants Supreme stuff. But FTX is going to have to build its brand equity for something like this to be worth it realistically. And then if we have a look at the website itself, of course, we see payments using FTX Pay. We have a number of banners here. 1% of all net fees will be donated to the world's most effective charities. That's awesome to see. Tesla and other digital assets on FTX. FTX staking program, stake FTT to get the following benefits, all these things. Now, I would love to hear your take on this. The thing is that even the fact, actually, something else that I noticed. So if we have a look at TSM Dunk, his name is, he actually recently put out that, the fact is that, not long into the thing, and of course, everything's trending. And this is the thing, I would not be making this video if FTX hadn't partnered with TSM, and I think this was going to be huge for FTX and crypto in general, is that more people are going to be adopted into this whole cryptocurrency marketplace. People are going to get less scared of it because they're going to understand it more, and it's part of now one of their most favorite, like I say, rock star teams. You got to think about, the 15-year-old who's playing Fortnite, and their favorite Fortnite player now is now associated with FTX. That goes miles with a 12-year-old or a 15-year-old, and it'll go the same thing with a 20-year-old, most likely with Valorant or League of Legends. So this is going to be huge. It's going to really show a lot of what's possible. I think it's going to bring a lot of people into this ecosystem, and of course, it's not just going to be about FTX. Once people get interested in FTX, once they like the idea, my guess is that, like we see with other things too, like for example, I don't know, gaming, TV, etc., people look at one thing, they get interested, and they start looking at other avenues of the same sort of industry, right? And I think that's what will likely happen. Honestly, I think that this will definitely carry over into VeVe, as long as VeVe makes itself an important player within the market, which already they are, but we're still so early on that honestly, VeVe could be the least important player in the market a year from now. That's not me digging at VeVe, that's me being realistic and not taking anything emotionally. I hope that VeVe does really well. I expect that they will, because they have a really good head on their shoulders from the team that works there. But I am open to anything happening. And honestly, as far as I'm concerned, just knowing how die-hard fans are in esports, which I very much do, because like I say, I've been working in this really for the past few years at least, and I've been interested as a fan for the past 10 years, and it's basically been half of my life. So I very much see where this opportunity is. 210 million makes sense over a decade. To be honest, they're going to make a lot more than that, so I'm very excited. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. I would love to hear your take. Have you ever heard of FTX before I made this video? We'd also love to hear your take on that. But with that being said, thanks for watching, have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.